One man, one Murloc, one giant angry badger. This is Blue Please. It begins now. Yes, indeed, folks. Welcome to Blue Please here on cynicalbrit.com with myself, Total Biscuit. The date today is the 6th of August, 2010. It is 3 minutes past 8 in the British Isles. It is 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States, 9 p.m. Central European Summertime. My name is Total Biscuit. You are, in fact, listening to this show, if you hadn't already realized. Perhaps you were mistaken. You came along and thought, well, I'm here to listen to another show, and then you were deceived, duped, fooled into listening to Blue Please, and now you cannot escape. No! What have we got coming for the show today? I can tell you. Oh yes, Big Red Kitty. Who the hell is Big Red Kitty? I can tell you. Big Red Kitty is a very important man within the Hunter community, yes indeed. He was brought into the beta by Blizzard themselves to provide feedback on the Hunter. He has an item in-game named after him. He's an important fellow, and he's on the show today to talk to you about the state of Hunters. Yes indeed, the state of Hunters in Cataclysm. 23-minute long interview also coming up a little bit later on. Oh yes. What else have we got? Talking, we've got the mailbag, we've got Cataclysm Q&A to come towards the end of the show. You can ask your Cataclysm questions, you can send them in via themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. No problem at all, get your questions over there, I will answer them to the best of my ability. Also, Reforging came into the game yesterday, I will tell you what it's all about and why it's awesome. And how to spice up questing. I went into Ashara, and I'm not going to tell you too much about this because I want to talk about it later. If you watch my Goblin Ashara 2 video, you'll note that I went into Ashara and I decried the boredom that I was experiencing at some of the quests there. So I want to tell Blizzard, and you guys as well, how to spice up boring everyday quests to make them more interesting with very little effort required. So we'll do that a little bit later on the show. Should be good. We'll talk about how the questing actually works to begin with, and how it can be built back up from the ground up and just made a hell of a lot more entertaining. That sounds like a good idea. Right, okay, first things first, there will not be a show next week. Why? Because I will be at the Bloodstock Metal Festival with a bunch of Cynical Brit guys listening to some awesome bands for 4 days. So there will not be a show next week. As for videos, there will most likely be videos over the course of that weekend. I'm going to post them on my YouTube account in private, and then every morning I'll get up and I'll activate a video via the wonders of my mobile phone, because it makes me feel like I'm on Star Trek. Yes, indeed. So, my apologies, no show, but I do have some semblance of a social life. It's not a great one, but it does the job. Right. I think that about covers it, for the time being. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for this.
Mail time!
That sounds like... It's mail time! Here's the mail.
It never fails.
It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes,
I want to wail.
Yes, indeed, folks, it is mail time. That would be the time where you read the mail, or I read the mail, because, well, let's put it this way, if you read the mail, it wouldn't really work so well. I'd have to get a microphone over to you, have to set you up with the broadcast software, give you a little bit of technique training. It's really inefficient. So, let's start off with this one. It comes in from Kimiax, and he says, "Dear host of shows,
you dare look upon the host of souls, I shall devour you all!
I heard your opinion about the new way they're using, quote, guild talents, unquote. I think it might be a good idea if the talents were binded is the word you're looking for. Or bound, that works too, but not bounded, that's silly. We're bound to your progress in raiding or PvP. Say a guild got a certain amount of raiding content clear. they obtain a more PvE-orientated talent, such as faster regeneration. If they do a lot of PvP, they obtain some PvP talents, such as 5% more PvP points from PG and Arena. With this method, you can achieve something other than loot, something which will be useful for all guild members. However, common things like plus 5% speed while mounted should be given for normal leveling. Excuse me for my bad English. In Luxembourg, we say Machinen Grace. That's probably not pronounced correctly, which means best regards. Right, okay, well, the thing is that guild talents, I don't think you should have to do anything specifically for guild talents other than play the game and work as a guild. I don't think it's really fair necessarily to stop any guild from getting access to talents as long as they work for it. It doesn't matter how they work for it, just make them work for it. The way that guild experience is currently set up in the guild perks system is that you will get guild experience for pretty much anything. Like, if you craft, you get experience. If you use the auction house, I've been told you get experience. PvP, you get experience. PvE, questing, anything you can possibly think of that you can do in-game will earn your guild experience. All that Blizzard cares about, and I've got to agree with them on this, is that you are working together as a guild, and that you are in a guild. I don't think we should be discriminating based on what kind of guild you've chosen to be in. I think we should be encouraging people to be in guilds, because guild play is the best play, without a shadow of a doubt. We should not be having people going solo because they think, oh, you know, I don't like other people. Other people suck. I just want to go solo. That sucks. That is a terrible attitude to have. And the worst thing you can have in your game is if you foster that attitude. It's bollocks. It is, really. It's a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, which means you're gonna deal with other people. Frickin' deal with it. Seriously. Why is this such a hard concept for people to get through their heads? It is a team game. That's how it works. Everything you do in the game can be done more efficiently as a team. You go into a battleground solo, you do better with a team. You go into Wintergrasp solo, you would do better with a team. You go into a raid solo as part of a pug, you would do better with a team. Even LFG is done better with a team. It's quicker, it's faster, it's more efficient, you get the same benefits. Everything should be done as a team. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's why all of the content that matters, whether it be PvP or PvE, is done as part of a group. There is no meaningful solo content in the game at all. That's a fact. Name one thing. Are you going to tell me daily quests? Yeah, sure. The WoW equivalent of working at McDonald's is a meaningful part of the game. Absolutely. Yeah. Pull the other one. It's got bells on it. Please. This game is designed to be played with other people, and if you can't handle that, play something single player. It's really not that hard a concept to grasp. So yeah, I'm totally cool with them giving talents across the board for pretty much anything as long as guilds have to work together as a guild. That's the whole point, is to encourage people to work together as a guild. Totally fine. Think about it for a second. If your guild does more than one thing, how fair would it be to, say, PvPers in a PvE guild? Maybe they're there because of friends, and they want to stick around. Or maybe some of the guild does PvP, but most of it does PvE. How is it fair to them that they get the PvP talent slower just because a lot of their guys do PvE? That doesn't seem fair at all. I have no problem with there being large guilds that do both PvE and PvP. That you don't have to be a 10-man, cut to the bare bones guild that does nothing but raid 10-mans. You can be a bigger guild, you can be a social guild that does anything it wants to. That's the wonders of being in a guild. You're not restricted to what you can do. If you've got people, you can do anything you set your mind to, as long as you don't suck. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I think that's the way it should be. Here's another one coming in from Karazine, the Kingslayer on Dractheron US, and he says this. Hey TB, a guildie had an interesting idea that he posted to our message boards today about weapons of legacy. Our message boards. Ah, yeah, it's from Angerfork. Okay. The concept is pretty simple. Once you had a weapon model that you liked, you would go through a quest to make it your legacy weapon. The weapon would keep its original skin, but would be able to have any new weapon stats and procs transferred onto it via a vendor or by reforging. As the thread indicates, this would not be unheard of in MMORPGs, i.e. legendary weapons in Lotro, although I do have some reservations about the idea. I do feel it would indeed help keep us from all looking the same once new raid content comes out, and would almost like to see it expanded to include some pieces of armor, which would solve the Skittle Clown conundrum. What are your thoughts on this? It's a totally cool idea that should be stolen from Lotro, because Blizzard has no qualms about stealing good ideas from other games, and why should they? A lot of games are derivative, honestly. All we really care about is, do we get features that make the game better? Because if yes, gimme, gimme, gimme. Seriously, just give it to me, right now. There are plenty of examples of stuff that's been stolen from Lotro, from DDO, from EverQuest, EverQuest 2, from Warhammer Online. Do it! Just borrow the idea. The idea that you could say, keep a weapon that you really like the look of, and then transfer stats to it, I think that's a great item. And it's a great idea. It's also a great item. If you create a great item, it could be a terrible item. It could be one of the worst looking items in the game. Like, I have Shadowmourne, but I am going to transfer the stats to this level 3 grey axe. Yes, indeed. You're going to be beaten up by this tiny little Lobi axe that suddenly does 5 million damage points. That would be awesome. I think what would happen there is, I have Ragnaros. I have the Sulfaris, Hand of Ragnaros. I'm going to transfer, let's see. I'm going to make it a healing staff. That would be the best thing ever. I hit you with my fiery healing mace of healing. It's perfect, isn't it, really? I would like to transform my stuff over to the Turning Tide, because that's the best looking sword I've ever owned. Is it? Let me think. Are there any better swords? No. I can't think of a better sword at all, looks-wise, than the Turning Tide for casters. Maybe Cataclysm's Edge, the one that... Was it Cataclysm's Edge, or was it something else? It was the one that looked like it was part of the Warlock Tier 6 set that dropped off Archimon. That was pretty pro. Admittedly, it looked like it had been designed by someone at Hot Topic, but whatever the case, it was a pretty neat-looking sword. I don't see the harm in that, honestly, because yes, it does make people look a little different. I think the only issue would be that Blizzard kind of wants to allow you to identify at a glance what kind of stage somebody's at by looking at their gear, which is why you've got tier sets that all look the same, which is why you got weapons. It should be obvious, for instance, that a weapons come from Ulduar, because they all sort of fall around the same kind of theme. ICC weapons kind of look the same. Nexramus weapons kind of look the same. They've all got overarching art styles that go along with them. Is that a good enough reason to stop you from doing something like that? No, I don't think so. I think the choice is great. I think that using old school weapons that you've collected again is cool as hell. I'm just thinking, is there anything I kept that I would use? Oh, that Zulaman staff is pretty neat. I've got that. Yeah, I'd probably use that again. That's pretty awesome. Or I'd transfer everything over to the tentacle staff that comes from Karazhan. Yeah, that would be cool. I don't see why not. I don't see the harm in it. Hell, I'd go across the board and just say, hey, just do it to everything. Let's me transfer my stats over to an old piece of armor that I've got. Just as long as it's the same slot and the same armor type, let me do it. Why not? Where's the harm in it? I mean, if I really wanted to, and of course this would be breaking the terms of service and I wouldn't recommend you do it, I could model swap all that stuff over so that I'm running around in Mage Tier 2. Not that I really want to, because Mage Tier 2 is terrible. Mage Tier 3, on the other hand, that looked pretty awesome. Actually, come to think of it, have we ever had a good Mage set? Tier 4 was okay. Tier 6 sucked. Tier 7 sucked. Tier 8 was pretty bad. So's Tier... Yeah, we've never actually had a good mage set, ever, have we? Not in the history of WoW have we ever had a good-looking mage set. But the new dungeon set, have you seen that thing? Oh, I put on my robe and wizard's hat. It's the best thing I've ever seen. Go check it out on MMO Champion. The new dungeon set for mages. I think warlocks and priests get it as well. It's got a freaking wizard's hat! Request for Blizzard. If any of the Blizzard guys are listening to the show, may I make a suggestion? Now, the suggestion I would hope that you follow, because this is very important and it's vital to the future of the game. Please take that hat and, in lopsided cheap sequins, sew in the word wizard with 2 Z's. Do that, and you will make me very happy indeed. My name is Total Biscuit. You're listening to Blue Please here on CynicalBrit.com. Here's a little bit of Hellmarch. We'll be right back after the break with the Big Red Kitty interview. Oh, yes, indeed. Enjoy.